Yo, yo, yo.
Yo,
What's
what's
up,
good?
man?
Let's get this shit bobbing. Yo, you know what's crazy? What I seen the other day, I seen did y'all see that story about a lady that killed her autistic son? Not killed her. It didn't come out that she killed him. But did you guys see that story?
I saw a story about a woman who killed her son. I don't know if he was autistic, or I don't know if I saw the same story you're talking about.
Okay, basically what happened was like they found her son. She said her son was kidnapped from
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
And it was taken
I saw
away
the
from-
headline.
Right, the headline that her son was taken from her, and then it turned up that her son ended up dead.
She faked the
And
disappearance.
it was just a whole story. But what she said was when they asked her what happened, she said that two black men came and took her son and kidnapped her and went away.
Come on, we're not kidnapping autistic children now.
That was the story that she
We don't
came
kidnap,
up with.
period.
All right, we don't kidnap, period.
And not even about kidnap. For me, the thing that came to my mind was like, why automatically, as soon as somebody asks you what happened, your story is two black men
That's funny.
specifically.
Like Jesse Smollett, something like that.
That's
crazy.
Smollett's
Jesse-
story. Like,
oh, that was funny.
They might have been related.
That's funny.
Smollett to her.
Yeah,
Well,
it could be.
But to me, my thing is that like black men these days are so criminalized. So
The
like, you
scapegoat.
know what I mean? The scapegoat for anything. So if
Yeah.
anything bad happened, it automatically it has to
was
have
a
something to do
black
with a
guy.
black guy.
Yeah,
Like
that's crazy.
they could have no idea. Like you could get robbed. They could have on a hoodie, glasses, shades. You couldn't see nothing. I'm sure he was black.
Yeah, that's the go-to line for
It makes it so much more believable.
It makes it more believable.
to
But
some people. I mean, not to everyone, but
my main point for this was saying that like what I wanted to ask y'all, come and ask y'all, do y'all feel like as black men y'all are a target in America?
I didn't. But
Absolutely.
at some point, I started to kind of feel like people they don't see us the same.
You feel like you're a target now?
At times, I mean,
Okay.
it's not like it's always there, but there are times when I become more aware, like, hey, shit ain't gonna be fair for me.
Okay. Well, what about you, Ken?
Yeah, not based off too many. Actually, you know what? I do have a couple personal experiences where I felt like this only happened because I was black. Being in a certain neighborhood, being pulled over by police officers.
Yep.
Because of some stupid story saying, "Oh, we heard that there was a break-in in the community or whatever,"
Bullshit.
and you fit the description. And I was like, "Well, what's the description? Just being black? Like I just
Yeah.
got here."
Black male.
Yeah, that's what it was. And when they pulled me over, it was 5 cops, and they put out 4 5s on me. I was like, "Yo, this is crazy." It looked like training day.
That's funny. Like I mean, that's crazy. I remember like I was on my way home from the gym early morning in Miami Gardens, and I got pulled over by a cop like right in front of the stadium. You know how they got like almost maybe what was that 6 or 8 lanes, maybe 4 in each direction.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the left lane.
Doesn't
the cop
matter.
came from the like 4 lanes to my right, and then he pulled me over, and then he said like I could tell it was bullshit because I wasn't doing anything wrong. But then when he got there, his excuse, I had my hands up on the steering wheel. He said that
Right.
my license tag was expired, and I'm thinking like, dude, you just came from 4 lanes to my right. There's no fucking way you saw my license tag was expired.
But was it?
No, it wasn't. It might have been. He probably made it up, but he made it up at the moment because
Nah.
I was even.
I mean, that's something you should know. Like,
Yeah, but
fuck.
I was thinking at that time because I was interning in the legal department for the city of Miami Gardens. I work with the chief of police at that time. I work with the city attorney, and it's
Okay.
like I was like, should I tell this nigga I work for your boss and you're acting like an asshole? I didn't tell the city attorney until years later.
But I
was,
also feel
was
like,
he black or white?
He was a white cop.
I also feel like you shouldn't have to do that. Do you feel that you're a pullover just because you're a black, or did
I had
you?
no idea. I didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay, I guess my question is this: like, this is what I'm trying to ask. Like, have you ever felt like because you were black, this is why this is happening? If I was another race or if I was a different shade or a different color, this wouldn't have happened.
For me, yeah. I got arrested in college. Like my only time ever being arrested wasn't for like smoking weed, wasn't for like driving drunk. It wasn't because I committed a crime. I was simply a black man at a white or a PW I pretty much, and walking to the car to go to the gym. I got pulled. I got stopped by a cop. He kind of just like stopped. We were walking. He stopped myself and Peter. And we ended up in handcuffs at the end of it. They tried to throw out some shit about
Bullshit.
We were they're doing an investigation. Someone committed a burglary the night before. I said, nigga,
So
if you committed a burglary the night before, why the fuck would I be here now during the daytime? You know,
so there was like real no plausible reason
At
why-
all.
No reason for him
at
to
all.
stop us at all.
He just started
None.
fucking with me. And I think it's possibly because, you know, he just knew I was cool with, you know, some people like Antonio Brown and shit like that. So, because something happened to them months before, like a couple months before.
Wait a minute, talk about. Sometimes people say that they feel like they're being targeted because of their race, and then sometimes I don't know, bro.
What?
It's because of Antonio Brown.
No, because so what happened was, even with them, they had a story where they were on campus and there was this white girl walking around chasing them, saying they don't go to school here. They don't go to school here.
Okay, but
So-
It's a public university.
You should listen before you talk. But
this is too funny.
so it's a public school. They're telling him he doesn't go there, and then as a matter of fact, you know, he does go there. So he began, you know, chased down by the police with another friend of mine who also went to school there, and they got kicked out of school as a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that we knew each other, so the same thing kind of happened to me.
But how do they know that?
Because that's who I used to hang with.
Okay, so well, what I'm getting from this story is because they were black, it's automatically assumed that y'all not good enough to go here, but it's assumed that y'all don't go here, or like
Exactly.
they take like extra precautions, like, oh, let me see your IDs.
Or
Why
they-
you didn't ask that?
Or even in the moment, they don't treat us the same. Because when I saw Michael getting harassed because there was no reason for them to stop us, we were just walking on the
okay,
sidewalk,
all right.
and then they stop us. When I saw them harassing Mike, and I call an attorney, and I get legal advice, and I'm doing what the attorney tells me to do, and then when I do that, they call for backup. And when you're calling for backup, it's two officers who aren't black, and you guys got your guns, your badge, your whatever, and then you're calling for backup just because I called and got
Attorney.
legal advice. Like,
Yeah.
what do
Shit
you
crazy.
need backup for?
Yeah.
Will you do that in other situations? Someone
Right.
you're gonna go. Why are you escalating the situation?
Yeah, and it is escalating the situation. Like a lot of times, well, to me, a lot of times they be bored. I think like sometimes they'll pull you over for like a regular speeding ticket, and then they'll call like 5 of their guys to come
Yeah,
and
and a
just
lot of
hang
people
out
can.
because they be fucking bored. That's what I be thinking sometimes. But other times it is racially motivated because they feel like. I think that a lot of times, like, black people may be unpredictable, or that's the narrative. Like, oh, I don't know what he's gonna do. I feel like afraid almost, which they're never really afraid. They're fucking police. They just fucking, you know.
My thing is, how are you afraid when your
Don't
gun,
have that
you have a
job.
gun, a taser,
Yeah.
you know, a nightstick, you have all that shit on you, but you're afraid of me, the guy that's unarmed? Like,
They-
how does that even make any sense?
They don't need that job if they're afraid of people.
I think in the moment they don't know what you have, or they're
What are
not
you talking-
sure to
like,
that
they're-
point. No, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'm
they
just
don't
saying
know.
they shouldn't have that job. If you get spooked for talking to 2 college kids and you're the
On
police,
campus.
what the fuck are you doing? Go get a new job, man.
I agree. I mean, it's just part of the culture, and that's really what it boils down to. Like, they're
Culture,
taught-
police culture.
Yeah, police culture. They're taught to
Okay.
criminalize black people. Plain and simple.
Now I don't know if it's about that. I don't think they're taught to do that. I think it's a learned thing from their personal experiences as human beings.
That-
like they take their natural biases into the job.
There's
Into
a
the job,
there's
which
a
they
but in some cases, and there's also a culture when you work in Opelika Police Department or you work in Overtown Police Department. It's predominantly black people in those neighborhoods, and so it's something that's trained and you learn. Okay, you're gonna go on this street and you're gonna see a bunch of bases and prostitutes and drug dealers. It's like it's something you learn about on the job. It's on the job training. And they may not say, hey, this area all niggers, arrest them all, kill them all, but it's something you learn. If I'm brand new and Peter has this perception of what happens in a certain neighborhood, and I'm learning from him, if I'm riding along with him and seeing how he treats people.
Yeah.
Naturally, it kind of it falls on me. I started
And-
taking on his,
So that's
his habits.
true, but that's true. But to be honest, all of us feel that same
That
kind
feel
of
the
way.
same way.
We
Yeah,
feel that
but
kind of same kind of
agree.
way.
Realistically,
Yeah, you have that same bias. You go to certain neighborhoods, you're like, you lock them doors, you pull
Not
up windows,
really. Like
Okay.
I don't.
Realistically,
but you've
Not
never
really.
heard. So you've never heard that. Like
I
that's
mean-
foreign to you.
All right. So the idea is not a foreign idea. It's
All
not
right.
a foreign idea. It's not the first time I'm hearing that some people are afraid in certain communities versus others.
Even
I'm
your own
just-
people.
I'm just saying. Well, I don't just get afraid just because I'm driving through Liberty City.
no, you don't. But in your mind, like, that's in that situation, I can see it. Like, it's kind of like if you're going around, if you're like, let's say, if you work in Pembroke Pines per se, rather than Opalaka? Like, you would think to yourself, like, I would have to take more precaution just because, you get what I'm saying? Like,
It's
just
Opalaka versus Pembroke Pines.
Nigga, drive
the
through
suburbia
like
versus
those people or whoever that is. If it's whoever,
Right.
they gotta like let go of those biases. People are people.
ultimately.
It don't matter if it's Opalaka.
Yeah, because you'll be surprised the
Pembroke
crimes that get
Pines.
committed in Pembroke Pines. You know,
No, I'm not saying the crimes. I'm just saying it's not even like, I'm just talking about the suburbs versus, versus
Yeah,
Look,
I
project.
get that,
but poverty doesn't make you a criminal. Just because
No,
somebody
it
don't have
doesn't.
that type of money that they have, they're still nice people.
So we're saying two things. On one end, first of all, we're not justifying anything that a police officer does that he or she is not supposed to be doing. But at the same time, you do have to understand that they are people too, and the same biases that we have as people, you take that into your job. And we can't pretend like there isn't a higher crime rate in Opalaka versus Pembroke Pines.
Nigga, let me see the numbers.
So, come on now,
The numbers.
Come on. You gotta see
Let me see the
I
numbers.
agree.
What numbers do you
I
need
agree.
to see?
I need
okay?
numbers.
Let me see the numbers. I'm not gonna
But
just
now
have no
you're
bias.
but you're not being realistic.
No.
or
Let me
honest.
tell you something. First of all, don't to assume that in Opalaka the crime rate is higher. First of all, a lot of shit don't get reported in Pembroke Pines.
All right.
So being that I work in the system, I've seen how a kid may be in the Miami Gardens who may get stopped with marijuana on him,
Right.
and they're gonna arrest him and lock him up. They give him 21 days in the jack. Whereas a kid in Pembroke Pines, they give him a civil citation. So,
Okay.
so it's not being reported the same.
Yeah,
That's what you have to understand. That the numbers are not swayed in our favor.
No, for
Miami
sure.
Gardens just recently passed the ordinance to allow for the
Okay.
police department to give
Peter, we
civil
don't care.
citations instead of.
Peter, we don't care.
Yeah, so it's just that we're a young city. We just
Peter,
did
I
that.
get it. Listen, but I get exactly what you're saying. Like, of course, it's not the same. Like, it's something else I was thinking of. Like, a lot of times, like, if a white person commits a crime, they might get a slap on the wrist. They may get them 2 years.
Yeah.
A black person does even less. Not even the same crime, even less. Will probably get 10 times the. It's a system problem. It's a systemic problem.
Yeah,
And that's why I said
That's real.
it's in the culture. And again, that it trickles down from the laws that are made down to the police departments. And so it's never just something that starts with the people. It starts from the higher ups.
The
It
top.
starts from the top. And so you got to understand that if the rules in place, if the laws in place are meant to, affect the disenfranchised differently from, the more affluent people, then you got to kind of understand why it's set up like that.
Okay, so my question for you is this, because you said, like, in your mind, well, not in your mind, but it's an actual fact, like it's from the top. Do you teach raising your child, or raising a child, if you guys were raising a child, would you guys raise that child knowing, telling them, teaching them that it's already, the numbers are stacked against you, you have to move a certain way?
I think you have to, as a parent. I mean, if you want to preserve the life of your child, the most important thing you can do is teach them how to move around the police. I remember one of our uncles, who passed, that was something he actually brought up. He says, man, you get pulled over, you put your hands out the car so they can see them shits all the time. He said, don't move it. If you got to grab your wallet, let them know I'm grabbing my wallet. And unfortunately, that's what we have to do as black people. Listen, I got a badge. I pull that bitch out first quarter. Nigga, I'm one of y'all. But you have to do that if you want to see your kids live, because the last thing you want to do is not teach your kids the way to function in this society nowadays, and then they become a casualty of a police officer for whatever fucking reason because they went for a wallet or some shit. So I think you have to.
I just think that, like, and I agree with you. I'm right there with you. I think that you have to teach them. I think you have to teach anybody that, like, like, it's different. I think over the last couple of years with all the, like, recent, like, the killings and the shootings and whatnot, you have to move a lot differently. Like, you have to, like, now it's almost immediately, like, if somebody pulls you over, you relax, you chilling. Now you get pulled over for a ticket, your mind is doing numbers like, this might be my final moments, like, not because of anything I do or anything that I have. He could just say, like, something like, yo, let me see your license and registration. You reach for it, he said, oh, I thought I saw a gun and he shot you.
And that's why I said what I said. Like, I pulled my badge out first quarter just to let them know, listen, nigga, I'm on the same side as you. I remember after I got arrested, I was traumatized. Like,
Right.
it became, because I'm claustrophobic, so me being in small areas was like fucking with me. So I was only in jail for 6 hours before I got bailed out. And I remember after that shit, I was just fucked up in the head. I just saw the legal system so differently. I saw criminal justice so different. I saw police so different. I saw attorneys so differently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And when I got after I got arrested, man, I remember every time I got pulled over, man, I would shiver, like, cause I'm like, they can either shoot you or put you back in handcuffs without having done a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Cause when we were in the holding cell, they lied on the paperwork, like right in front of us, like, no,
police report.
Put this shit down, write this right here. So it's like, damn, like, there's no fucking checks and balances. They can put whatever the fuck they want to, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, even like what you were saying, how it traumatized you and changed you. I remember after I was locked, we were in jail or whatever, and got bailed out. I remember I was like, man, this shit is so inhumane. Like, that's what made me want to do criminal justice reform.
How they treated you, or like how it transpired?
To be in that tiny environment, that tiny ass room with all those people in there, and you can't do anything. You're like, your mind, you can't do anything. It's inhumane.
Pretty sound like you got PTSD.
I don't know if I have PTSD, but that affected me. I was like, man, this shit is like, you can't do this to people. This is horrible.
And to me, it's like what you guys are saying. You guys have trauma from that. So now every time you even get put in that situation with something as simple as your tag being expired, or your tints are too dark, or like, so getting pulled over in that moment, you feel like anything can happen. I think that like a lot of people have that like mind state. Like, imagine like one of the guys, what's the guy that got shot and killed, Philando Castile? Like, he
in the car,
like he's there with his.
And the crazy thing is, nigga had kids in the back seat. Like, that shit, crazy. That shit fuck with me.
That is crazy.
Like, you killed a nigga in front of his child.
It's things like that. So like now, you don't really know how you even want to move. Like, I tell people all the time, like, I don't really believe in guns. Like, they're not for me. I don't have, I don't want anything to do with them because I just feel like that extra like sense of danger outweighs the sense of security for some people. For me, you know what I mean?
No, I don't agree with that. I'm comfortable with guns. I don't mind guns. I was in the Army. I have my rifle, and I don't have a problem with guns.
And that's fine. And I hear you on that. Like, I get that. I'm just saying that, and that's just, for me. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
for me, like, when it comes to like dealing with like police officers, like, I wouldn't even want to be in that situation because like, you could just say, "Oh, you have a weapon in the car?" "Yeah, I have a weapon." Boom, that's it. And he said, "There's a gun in the car."
I got pulled over. Sorry to interrupt you. I got pulled over one time at night. Or I think I actually called the cops on my way to Orlando last night, and I wanted some help changing the tires, but I didn't want to get out on the side of the road by myself. Yeah. But I told the officers, my rifle is in my trunk. It's in a box. There's no ammo in the rifle. It's not loaded.
Right.
But I made sure to let them know ahead of time before we opened the trunk to change my tire. My rifle is right there, and I'm a legal owner. There's no ammo in there, so that they don't have to worry.
And did they take the gun out?
Nah, they didn't. I mean, I guess it's individuals because they were cool. Maybe somebody else would have been an asshole.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
It happened to me. I mean, I've been put over like 3-4 times where I had to tell them, listen, they're like, "Do you have a gun in the car, sir?" I say, "Yes, I do. My hands are over here. That shit is under my seat." And I would get the fuck out the car, and you grab that shit, and they go through all through the shit. They empty the clips and everything, but
see,
it's part of being safe.
It's part of being safe, and I think those are part of the new rules that we like have to teach ourselves that only apply to us. Do you think you would have done that maybe 10-15 years ago, took all those precautions? Or
no,
because you guys are licensed to carry, you guys have like a permit to have it, but like,
oh no, those aren't new rules.
Those aren't.
Nah, that's for black people. No, that's always been rules for us.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I'm talking about for black people. Like, it's different. Like, there are different set of like fucking. I don't know.
Say it.
No, I'm just saying, like, for other people, like for white people, I hate keep saying white people, but white people, like, they could have guns on their shoulders and they can like do whatever they want. Like, it even comes like think about what we're talking about right now. When police come, we're like, "Yes sir, no sir." We got our hands out the window. We're like, trying to like,
not white people.
What the fuck you cracker? What the? They won't say cracker.
So what do y'all think is the solution to this?
I think that we got to get more political power. I think political power is part of the solution.
Fuck that. I think you have to put black people in these. Your neighborhood, your police department should look like your neighborhood.
Time about you. Yeah, you straight cut them.
I mean, I got it, but I don't believe in none of that shit, man. We've been doing this. We've been saying this shit for how long? At what point do you say, okay, this shit's not working? All this political shit over. We're gonna that's all bullshit. They've been doing this shit for hundreds of years.
Wait, so
I think that's definitely part of the.
Wait, I'm not sure I understood you.
I don't. Whether you want to say voting people in and all that shit, man, it doesn't matter. Like, I've come across plenty of people who had that mindset. Like you're saying, vote and do all this shit, nigga. They tampering with the fucking elections nowadays. Like how do you like? What are we talking about right now? If they don't want a person in office, the person won't be in office. Simple as that.
So then, Peter, what were you saying then?
So I was saying we have to get more office, like
get more
Florida,
more of us in there.
Yeah, in Florida, there's only one black person who's a state attorney, and that's Aramis Ayala in Orlando, and she just got there. In the history of the state of Florida, we only have one.
Okay, so how do you fix
but
that?
I'm telling you what the fuck we gotta do.
And you think nobody's you think black people aren't running for that position?
That's what I'm saying.
They're not being elected. That's my whole fucking point. They're going to put in office who they want to put in office.
Let me finish this point, and then I want to rebuttal it. But go ahead.
Yeah, so we need more representation. We need more, even in Miami, we need more black judges. We need more black attorneys, more black state attorneys specifically who prosecute crimes. But we need more representation. Even in law school, I read a couple cases. Con law was one of my favorite courses, and I would tell all my colleagues there's been a lot of cases where through the Supreme Court, black people lost money in their community. And I would tell them from a black perspective when we're going through these courses, look at how this decision affected my community.
But okay, so
we just lost a lot of money.
So bottom line,
with your point, how do you think that helps us?
What do you mean? How do you think?
So if more black people are elected to, and I'm not making a conclusion, I just want to know your point of view.
I think that the representation is important. I think even sometimes people can't accomplish things they can't see because some people, they don't even have role models. They don't even have any aspirations for better. If we can see more black people as attorneys, judges, state attorneys, or other positions, and not just certain pop culture positions, that can have an effect. Or even go ahead.
Okay, so what I want to say to that point, which I do agree with you. I agree with more representation, more black judges, more black lawyers, more black people, because I feel like they see it differently. Like if you come before a white judge for whatever, let's say misdemeanor or whatever, he's just another black dude, let's get him off the street instantaneously. Right. A black judge may see him like, I see you like probably been in charge. I might take just another look at it.
But I'm not just saying, because I know. I can name drop some.
Please don't.
I'm just saying, but I don't think it's just. I don't think it's just like white judges, because there's good white judges.
A lot of them.
I understand.
It's not just white or black.
I do understand that.
So, I've seen white judges who are nicer than black judges. So
yeah,
again,
I don't think it's just white or black. But there's things like, if we had more money in our community, if more people were professional jobs who work in Miami Gardens, right? If more parents were medical doctors, lawyers, if more people had wealth, I don't think that officers are going to be committing these injustices in communities where their parents have resources to fight back, or have knowledge, or have connections to fight back.
That might be true, but to your original point, how do elected officials help?
I don't think I said elected officials. We talked state attorney?
No, elected officials. You said people in office.
Yeah.
So whether they're elected, however they're appointed, those people, how do they help?
I mean, it's not easy. Well, they can help by passing laws and controlling the purse, controlling the money. But
man, that shit is, again, that's all. Listen, it starts in the position, like I said. It starts with policing, your own people. So if you have a or you have the police department that represents Miami Gardens, and the people in the police department, the police officers, if they look like the people in the neighborhood, it's a difference. It starts with understanding. Okay, so maybe you saw Rick doing some retarded shit. Maybe him and his mom were arguing, having a fight. As a black man, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, hey, Mom, let me talk to you. Come here, man. Come here, Rick. What's going on? And as opposed to just putting handcuffs on the motherfucker and throwing him in jail.
That's a good point. A lot of people believe in what you're talking about is community policing.
It's called community policing. So, and that's the first place where it starts. We get arrested at a much higher, rate than anyone else. It starts
the same crimes.
So it starts with the police department. All that other shit about politics, man. Politics been bullshitting for years.
The problem with community policing, to me, is like if that's your neighborhood, it's hard to like really like let's say boom, I grew up with Peter. Me and Peter are boys. I grow up. He's still whatever, doing whatever, chilling, and I become a police officer. Like, it's gonna be hard for me to like. I have that personal bias with them. So I have that bond with them. So I can't actually do my job without bias. You know what I mean?
So what you're doing is also, you gotta understand that You're thinking of a small city.
Yeah, so with community policing, the thing that I see with community policing is that sometimes I agree with Daniel. There might be a little bit of bias at times, and then that can distort things. But I know some officers in the police department, and I think they'll do a great job.
So yeah, with me, this is what I see on a regular basis. You got to think like this. Miami Gardens may have maybe 1 million residents.
Okay,
It's 108,000.
Okay, shit. I don't know 108,000 people. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you have to anticipate that some of the people moved out of the people I grew up with probably moved out of the neighborhood. They live in different cities. So the reality is that people who, not all the time are you going to run into people that you know. That's a small percentage.
Okay. I see what you're saying. It's a small percentage.
It's a
What I was
small-
saying
exactly.
is really relative.
Honestly,
okay, I understand that.
with what all of you guys have said is something that we have to accept is that there's no perfect system. I know I have two examples with both sides. So in one case, there was an attorney, a black attorney who was a public defender. He was telling us, he was like, one of the problems he has with black people is that they see him as the enemy when his benefit to black people is that I can empathize and sympathize with your situation and I won't overreact. But black people are looking at him, according to him, like I'm supposed to cut you some type of slack that you don't deserve.
Okay,
and,
yeah.
and then we can't expect that from our black police
what is he?
officers. He's
A cop?
a public defender. You can't expect that from your judges, your police officers, and that's true. If you committed a certain crime,
Yeah.
all you need to expect is fair.
Yeah.
Now, so that's his personal experiences. Then on the other hand, I know a black police officer who got into I guess I would call a confrontation with a black dude, and because he's black and he's from this neighborhood, like Dan said, he let him go. He was like, you know what? I understand your plight, and I don't want to make your life worse because you're a young dude. I don't want you to go to jail, be in the system, and you're another statistic. That same dude, 6 months later, killed some dude, got into it with police officers on another side of the county. They killed him. And so it's crazy. It's like he killed somebody. He gets into it with other police officers. They kill him.
Because even go ahead.
But that won't be the majority.
It won't be the majority, but it was just to Dan's point how it might not work. And that's crazy because now he's feeling guilty. He's like, you know what? For that thing you did, had I arrested you, you would have been in jail within that time frame. You would have never had done those things.
Maybe he got bond. Fuck you talking about?
Maybe, but the point is, hey, you could have been in jail for those 6 months.
Yeah, true. I mean, but again, you can't
feel guilt.
Now,
about
so I'm
it.
not saying that
he
we
did what
should,
he did. He thought he did the right thing. No
right?
guilt.
And I'm not saying we shouldn't do community policing. I think because there's no perfect system, the answer is probably a little bit of both.
There's no perfect system for sure, but the system we have now, I believe, is definitely not the one. That shit is definitely fucked up. Like,
so
it's definitely
anything is better than what we have right now.
And I agree. And like which is brought I just thought of something else actually right now. Like, you know, one thing that happens, especially like when an unarmed person gets killed for no reason by police. Do you guys ever notice the media's character assassination? Like as soon
like a mod.
The moment, like
yes.
He could have done nothing wrong whatsoever, and they gonna bring back something. Yo, he was no angel in 3rd grade. Right. He stole a candy bar. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that sometimes the police union or the media, they're too powerful. Like, it's nice to have unions and have rights and have some power, but they gotta stop protecting all these officers all the time. They need to allow some of these officers to get convicted.
Is a gang, man.
Or at least allow some trials, even just to scare them, even if you don't have a conviction.
The police
at least
are
a trial.
gang, man.
And you know, actually, I'm glad you said that because you said the police and the media, they're two very powerful people.
They
like,
are.
think about today's age. Today's age is social media and how big it is, and how just because, like, let's think about Trayvon Martin. That's probably like the biggest one that we heard because we had social media. So think about how many people before social media we may not even know about, because the media will not show it. They won't like bring no light to it. You might know about it in your city, but nationally, and just think about how many people get off like that shit.
That is crazy, man. I've heard somebody say that there are no good police, and there are no good police because when bad police do wrong, you don't see good police
coming forth
stepping up and,
at all
and chastising.
It's a gang, nigga, blood in, blood out.
And I think that would make a huge difference
if they step up.
Yeah, exactly, because it's an honor to do this job. and your responsibility is high. So when you see somebody who is not living up to that high responsibility, you need to be more mad than the rest of us.
That's like when I saw the video. They had a video of this Chico dude. I think it might have been in California. Big, tall Chico dude. The cop got mad and just started wailing on Buddy. Bam, 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 bam. His partner's right there, and she's just watching the whole thing. The whole time she trying to subdue the guy. The guy's in handcuffs already.
Oh, I think I saw that.
So
video.
the guy's in handcuffs, getting the shit knocked out of him.
Yeah.
Bam, 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 bam. At no point did the female officer, the partner,
She didn't
come
tell
and
him to stop.
him.
She didn't restrain.
She's
she
trying
didn't
to
ask him
hold
slow
the
down.
guy in handcuffs.
Yeah.
Like what he's gonna do?
Like what? He's not doing shit.
Yeah,
He's
he's
trying
already in
to. He's trying to
handcuffs.
block himself. Meanwhile, they knocking. Listen, I saw that shit, man, and my blood just went to boiling. And it's like you gotta hold your
Those are
partner.
some wimps, man.
You do have to hold them accountable, and just
You
the
gotta
same
hold
way,
them.
like the police need to hold each other accountable. I think that like white people also they need to be held accountable because sometimes their voices need to be spoken. Like it's good to speak out, use your voice, use your power, use that platform that you may or may not have, but to speak. Yo, this shit ain't right. If enough people stand up, I think that like that's when we'll see some actual change.
That's
Yeah, I
real
saw-
because when white people do it, it's unbiased. When we do it, even if it's
biased.
right,
Yeah, it's
whether
biased.
it's right or not,
That's
it's
a damn.
it's a bias.
That's a damn good point.
So
Yeah.
we need white people, we need Spanish people, we need Asians, like and
Facts.
so we can look at it and say, hey, no matter who
Man,
you
them-
are,
listen,
this is wrong.
Them
is
Asians
wrong.
don't stand with shit, bro.
Yeah,
I don't see them
saw-
motherfuckers nowhere.
I
They
saw-
don't give a fuck about nothing but their money.
I don't know about that, bro. Yo, that's wild.
I don't ever see
Yeah.
them protesting shit. I
That's
see
wild.
You ever seen an Asian at a protest?
In China,
Yeah, but I saw a video on Facebook. It was a white gentleman, and he was mad about the Ahmaud Arbery situation. He said he was directing the conversation to white people. He said, "Hey, white people, if you see a black man jogging through the neighborhood, you know what you do? Nothing.
Yeah,
Or
I saw
else
that. I saw that.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe you wave or something,
Or
or
throw in some water.
you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
throw
no,
the
that's
head
real.
up, and that's
That's
it.
real.
You don't chase them. You don't go get your shotgun,
Yeah.
get in your
Right.
car, and follow them and,
follow
stop
him
them.
and like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's
let's see.
trash.
And like,
The
I know
fuck is
he's
wrong
gonna
with
do
you?
something. Let me
Yeah.
go watch him. Let me go see what he got going on.
in all fairness, I do have a white former professor who's very, very active in voicing her opinions about situations for black people. So I do appreciate her and other white people like her. We need way more white people like that.
And we're talking about white people, like also talking about like responsibilities. Do y'all feel that black celebrities like have a responsibility to speak out on black things?
Absolutely. They have the voice. I mean, they have the media's attention. I think it's in your best interest and ours as well that you speak on our behalf. A lot of us don't have voices. I don't have a voice. You don't have a voice. I mean, so if LeBron James steps up and says, hey, enough of our people being killed, people are going to start saying, hey, LeBron James is saying something, let's pay attention to this issue.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a responsibility,
Fuck
but
outta here.
I do think it's
This
a
nigga
good,
like Jordan, man.
yeah, I like Jordan and LeBron is the GOAT, right?
Yeah, no,
so
go ahead.
I don't think they have a responsibility, but there's like people like Oprah or people who said that, Michael Jordan doesn't feel comfortable if he doesn't feel comfortable being out there, whatever. That's his personality. Now, if LeBron is more comfortable doing that, that's different. Or if someone feels more comfortable being educated on the situations and then talking about it, that's different. I don't think just because you made a little success in your career,
Right.
you
No.
have an
I
obligation.
mean, I think you do when it's the black people who are supporting your business to begin with.
Okay.
White people
ahead.
go to
You
the
wanted to
NBA.
say something?
Yeah, 'cause I wanted to say it would be great and it would be awesome, but I can't say that you have the responsibility. Like I can't say, and you brought up Michael Jordan. I can't say Michael Jordan because you are Michael Jordan. You have to speak up on certain issues.
Yeah.
It's unfair because, like he said, what if I'm not educated on it? What if I'm not articulate on at all in general? We can't look for any one person in particular to be that voice for us.
And I agree with that from that perspective for sure, because like all people are not like meant to speak on certain things. They may not have the voice for it. They may be
They could
superstars, they might be big, they might be like, but they might not project it, because if you actually care about it, because you want people to do it because they actually care about it,
that's
not
their
because
passion.
my PR team said this would be good for me, this would be a good look.
But why can't it just be because they actually are black and they understand what the fuck it is to be condemned before even found guilty?
Unfortunately, everybody doesn't care enough, and like sometimes it means more if you care, because it's gonna sound different. It's gonna be your own words. You're gonna actually feel what you're saying. But can you see through when someone's faking it if they just reading a script like, okay, tell me to say this, my PR team said this isn't right.
I just feel like every black person can relate to being,
Agree, but you want somebody to also be able to articulate too.
And
nigga, you can tweet the shit. Even if you can't say it and stand up in front of a camera, man, you can tweet that shit, man. Like, free Trayvon, or like I saw the movie I just watched today. It was Free Rayshawn. You can tweet that out. Even if you can't speak. It's a dope ass movie I actually saw on some app called Quibi or some shit. But it's actually dope as fuck.
I never heard about it.
No. It's raw as fuck. It got some Lawrence Fishburne in it. It's a dope ass movie. I watched it today. It was fucking crazy. And I'm not gonna tell you guys what happened at the end of the movie, but it was just fucking
right.
It was about that type of situation. The police coming down on a black man, trying to frame him for something he didn't do. And at the end of the result, he ended up killing the cop. And ultimately, man, they shot this man. He didn't have a chance. He said if they bury this
funny.
tape,
You just say you weren't gonna tell us.
And he told us the entire movie.
My bad, but I'm gonna let y'all watch the shit. The shit is called Free Rayshawn. It's hashtag Free Rayshawn. But watch it though. I'm gonna leave it alone.
All right. Nah, but I feel you. I see what you're saying. It would be simple to say Free Trayvon.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's not. It doesn't require too much.
But it's not an obligation. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing to do. It's a great thing to do. But I can't call it an obligation.
Yeah.
And besides that, it's not just black people. White people can be active also.
Yeah.
There's white people. Like when I was in school, in law school, I talked to everybody. I talked to the white people on campus about these issues. I talked to black people on campus about these issues. People have opinions. They're people. It's not just like if you're black, you got to talk about it. I talk to anyone who will listen, who will have the conversation. I'll talk to you. And I'll talk to the black judges, the white judges. I'll be like, hey, professor, why can't we get any convictions? Why can't we get any trials?
And
this shit is on tape. It's on camera.
It's good to get that conversation going. It's already been going, but it's good because the problem that we're having here is that it's becoming normalized. You know what I mean? Like we're almost becoming desensitized to it. Like, another. You wake up in the morning. Oh, another black man killed. Another black man killed. All right. I mean,
but that's because we're not taking action. I mean, that's just my opinion. I think that.
What action is there to be taken?
Listen, I'm not gonna say on. It's a lot of action to be taken.
Give me one example.
You got to get tired of marching at some point. I can't say what I want to say on the air, but at some point you got to get tired of saying we're gonna march when somebody get killed.
We're gonna have a burning revolution,
or we're gonna go ahead and I mean, the Black Panthers were eliminated for a reason. Because they were actually trying to make some shit happen. I'm not going to speak on that too much in detail, but I definitely feel like at some point, but at some point, you got to stop talking about shit getting done.
No,
how many times have they killed
politics, right? What you just said, fuck that, right? That's political power, what the Black Panther did. Right?
That's all fine.
All right, you just said fuck it when I talked about it.
I mean,
because it's different. They were doing things. They were doing actions on the ground first.
So I can speak on what you're talking about because I have a very similar sentiment. When I was in school, we did like this protest. And the protest was to wear a green shirt, and then we're gonna be silent, and then at a certain time we're just gonna stop and freeze. And I was just like, that's fucking retarded.
Why?
That's fucking retarded.
Well, let's not say the R word.
And it was retarded because there was another school who they got all their students to instead write a bill for the governor to sign. And I was like,
that's cool.
That is action. Me wearing a green shirt and I'm in my school, nobody who's in the city is going to see it.
It's not being televised.
The newspaper was a newspaper or anything going to write about it? Somebody uncover it?
Exactly.
That
all of that
some awareness.
That is, I hated it. So on that day, even though I didn't do it on purpose, but I didn't wear green that day. It was just a regular day for me because I was like, I hate that. It was like,
so that's the type of action that you want to see. You want to see like talking to governors and talking to some form of movement.
So for me, it wasn't about the specific action. It was that at least these people did something to let's move the needle. Just us amongst our. Imagine if we said we're going to protest. We all wore green shirts right now. and we're hoping that somebody sees this and
Nothing is gonna come from it.
exactly.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we got to do something. I remember one time we in Orlando when I was living in Orlando at the time when there was a whole bunch of protests where people were like shutting down the roads, and I happened to have Magic tickets, and I was just like, this shutting down the roads thing. I was like, but nobody's trying to talk to the governor. Nobody's trying to write nothing. Nobody's trying to say, hey, let's hold this particular person accountable. I had these Magic tickets. I went to the game. I was like, no, I'm straight. Yeah, I just went to the game. Yeah. I don't want to be a part of things that doesn't move anything.
That you feel like it doesn't move in. I get it.
Awareness is good.
Awareness, because I think that's what it's for ultimately, for bringing awareness to it.
You got to go past
action.
that. Yeah, I need action.
But the awareness is important.
It's
There's
very
a lot of
important.
People, they get enough awareness.
It's step one.
No, it's not.
They get a lot of awareness.
Awareness is step one.
But how can people solve? There's a lot of people who don't live. There's only like 15% of them or 13% of Americans are black. A lot of people don't. Most of the country don't see black people. We're unicorns.
They never see black people.
All right, we're unicorns to a big part of the country.
Yeah.
So a lot of the country, they don't know anything about black issues. They don't have any black friends. Some of them maybe they have one black student in their school.
Right.
Like. It's different for like you have your perspective. Some people don't have this perspective. Awareness is important.
Yo, that's so real. When I went to college for the first time, I met this white girl, and she was like, I was the first black person she interacted with.
Yeah, look at that.
That's
and
wild.
You know, like that's why the media is so powerful, because the media is this big giant. Because in those parts of the country, in fucking, I don't know, Talabas is like Wisconsin, like some fucking shit you never heard of. Like they have all white people and they don't know nothing about anything, and it's like, you know, it's foreign to them black people. So
completely,
it's like, that's real.
So it's their job to do the due diligence and get to know
who's there.
No,
white people.
Oh, white
people.
No, that's what I'm talking about. The awareness, like change.
Do you have a responsibility to learn anything about white people that you don't know about?
I mean, they're not the minority.
Why the hell would somebody in the middle of the country who has no black people in their lives, nowhere,
he doesn't know
I don't believe that's true.
They're going to adopt a responsibility.
Everybody comes across a black person. Like,
there's some states that have almost no black people.
Not according to this girl that I met.
That's not true.
She's never ran into a black person.
She told me she never interacted with a black person. No, she could be. I'm not saying she's not lying. Yeah, but that's what she said.
Fuck that dumb bitch. Like, come on, like
13%.
After 20 years of life, you've never come into a
we were
with a black
18
person
at the time.
18,
but whatever.
No, but yeah, there are parts of the country where no black people live.
Yeah,
that's not true.
Oh, come
Every
on,
part of the country, there's a black person in that country.
Maybe one.
It don't fucking matter. You go out and learn that motherfucker.
What do you go out of your way to just learn? People are living their lives. People are living their lives. It's not that some people are more evil. But
the point of this is that like bringing awareness is always important. But at some point, I agree with you. At some point, you have to take action. Even bringing awareness to like 2 months ago when they on Ahmaud Arbery. We didn't even know this happened. This was 2 months ago before we even. But if somebody didn't start bringing awareness to it, we wouldn't even know this happened. They would have just swept it under the rug. They would have went on there and they would have kept like. You think they would have been arrested if nobody brought like?
So
attention?
So that's the first part of it.
It's definitely step one.
And that's the first part of it. You got to acknowledge that. But the second part of it is also action. You know, in some way, shape, or form. You know, I feel like everyone. The people who got arrested were arrested as a result of the people who were speaking up on it. Celebrities saying, you know, Taraji Henson and I don't know, Will Smith and whomever was speaking up on it. Like, these people are followed by politicians. They're followed by governors and senators, and it made its way up to the fucking Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of celebrities were speaking on it. So it got to a point where he said, damn, that was a fucked up video, pretty much. You know, so at the end of the day, you know, it's still action. People have to speak on it.
But a lot of times they saw it already. So it's not damn as a fucked up video. It's damn. Other people are seeing it. We might get some flack for it. So we better do something.
But see, I also, the way I look at it, like the same way I saw it, nigga, a couple weeks ago, I believe Trump probably saw it a couple weeks ago.
Maybe not, though.
But we can't assume that he saw it prior. So again,
one way or another.
So let's just say he spoke on it when he saw it.
So what about white people who don't speak on it? Are they racist?
I can't call them racist. They just probably don't want a part of that, you know, that fight, and that's fine. But I feel like and listen, after all these fucking years of slavery, bitch, you better speak up.
What about you, Daniel? What you think? A white person who does not speak on it, are they racist?
No, I don't think they're racist. I think they just choose not to speak on it. Like,
it doesn't affect them.
It doesn't affect. they just choose to be ignorant. Like, you know what they say, ignorance is bliss. Like, they just choose to like, oh, that's not my business.
no, do it.
I don't have nothing to do with that. Y'all boys take care of that. Like, it's a bad thing. It's not a good thing, but that doesn't make them inertly racist. Like, you know what I mean? So
a lot of shit happens that, you know, they see happen and they just happen to ignore. You know, like,
and
oh, shit, excuse me, not my fight. But
I mean, mind my own business. You know.
Yeah,
so.
but that's just a lot of what, you know, has been hurting us all this time. You know, a lot of shit's been happening. People see it happening and
they ignore it.
They ignore it.
And then, like, until everybody comes to a point that says, like, this is bad for all humanity, not just me as a white person, like, it's bad for everybody. If y'all getting treated bad, so I can get treated bad at some point. But they don't feel that way. They feel like they are an early above. Like, I don't. You know, somebody said a thing. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to get this point off. Like, somebody said a thing like, other people's job, like if you go to somebody's job where they're working, right, and you have bad customer service, you're gonna tell them like, yo, you're trash, where's your manager, let me talk to you. Like, white people do that with police officers. Like, they say, yo, give me your fucking badge number, give me like, you know, let me talk to you, I'm gonna report you to whatever. Black people say that, they're gonna slam you on your neck. Like, you know,
that's literally what happened to Peter.
they will slam you on your neck.
Not to laugh, but yeah,
that's what happened. I mean,
like, we don't get the same. But once, like, everybody recognize that there's an uneven advantage, like, we know it's an uneven advantage. We know the cards are stacked up against us. But, like, until white people recognize that and speak out on that, nothing's ever going to change. And the system is going to become the, like, piece of shit that
and it's going to take white people to speak up and say something. They don't care about the fuck.
Is everybody as a unit?
Yeah, it definitely is everybody. Definitely. What is white privilege then?
White privilege is being able to cuss the fucking police out, ram your car into their car, and not get shot and killed. That's what white privilege is to me. I've seen this shit happen plenty of times. I saw a video where there was a white guy who rammed his car into like several cop cars, and they had a gun pointed at this guy and everything. He just rammed him in the car. They had to pull him out of the car, and when they did, they did it in such a polite way. White privilege is the South Carolina massacre when the guy walked into the church and shot all the black people up.
Oh yeah, killed the black.
Took the nigga to Burger King.
McDonald's.
And then stuff like that. Like, he's alive and well, breathing like the air that we're breathing after just shooting up a church, like shooting up, like
killing multiple people.
Yo. And then, like, because even, like, not even to, like, defend, like, if somebody else, but if it was, like, if it was a minority just having a gun, you don't even have to kill nobody. You are going to die there. Yeah. You will die there. Like, you're not going to live to see it. But, like, that's white privilege. I agree with that. That's absolutely white privilege. Like, you could just...
I say white privilege is probably just having a different perspective or a different understanding of the world. It's a different understanding from people...
In what sense?
People who are in the minority. So some people they like, it's not in their world. It's not their world concept.
I
They've
agree.
never seen it. Like you were saying, how some person told you, oh, when she got to college the first time she saw a white person. When I got to law school,
black person.
Black person. Mm-hmm. Get into law school, you know it because you saw it. There's a lot of people who they've never been around black people before. Never.
Yeah.
Until we get to law school. Can you imagine till you're 24 or something? That's the first time.
But how would that be?
Ever been around a black person?
But how would that be white privilege?
And they're so weird.
No, I get what you're saying in that sense.
Until they get around you and see you're just like them and just as normal and regular as them. Some people, it's not ignorance. Their world reality.
It's not ignorance.
It's just they're just living their lives. It's not ignorance.
It's just not their world. They don't see it.
It's not around them. They're living their lives. They're doing what they feel is normal and appropriate, but they don't have any experiences to share with that stuff. Yeah. So I don't mind talking to them about different experiences. And when people know, then they get to decide, all right, do I want to do something or not? What am I going to do?
It's up to them ultimately, but I think that bringing awareness, that conversation, that uncomfortable conversation, like imagine like, you know, like, because I couldn't imagine, like, if I work with a bunch of white people and a black person gets shot and you go to them like, yo, did you see that black kid that just got shot unarmed in it? And they say something wild, like they respond like, yeah, but he was probably like robbed somebody or something. Like, how do you react to that?
I be
like,
seeing that shit on Facebook all the time, man.
They're like, oh, let's hear both sides of the story. What you mean both sides? He didn't have a gun. It's confirmed. He had no weapon.
It's on camera.
Yeah,
that's the worst part about it.
And it be on camera. The video comes out and nothing happens. They get on like paid leave until like everybody like gloss over it and back to that, like, you know, us like desensitized to it. So what happens is that like it goes off, it goes over, it blows over, and then they wait. person's back at a job. Everybody keeps going on in their life like nothing happened.
There's another shooting.
That's why, like, I come back to y'all point, like, all of that talking, all of that marching, all of that, like, you know, run 2.2 miles for whoever, or do this for that, and then there's no action behind it. There's no follow up behind it. It's useless. But
yes.
I don't think it's useless.
So what about the awareness?
It's still awareness. It's still awareness.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's kind of like you know, going to church and they preaching the gospel and they're trying to convert you and they want you to become baptized. The preacher's preaching all these sermons. You hear it. You're becoming aware, and then it can be in your mind, and it's going to start to change your mind at some point.
Good point.
But without hearing, without even being preached to, there's no
chance for that.
It's not useless. It's incomplete.
All right, it's incomplete.
Yeah.
All right, that's better.
That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Awareness without action is incomplete.
But see, you got to also be, you know, intelligent and strategize your action. You know, I don't know that.
I agree.
I think that marching is okay, but nigga, we've been marching for decades now. I think at some point you gotta. I'm okay with riding and fucking people shit up. Not our own shit though.
There's still change though.
Not our own shit.
You
but
are on the fringes, brother.
Listen, I'm just saying. I'm against just marching and running, nigga. What the fuck we running for? I'm running 2.23 miles for what fucking reason?
Now, self-defense, I agree with you, but being just like going and destroying someone's stuff for no reason.
No. I mean,
right.
Black people. No. If you go, in my mind, you go fuck up
some random white person.
No. Listen again. You're missing the point.
What's your point?
Y'all should all be quiet.
What's your point?
Listen.
You right.
Okay, so you got a police department that shot an unarmed black man. If the people go riot at the police department, fuck they shit up their cars. You know, I feel like that makes it opens their eyes, because now it's affecting their pockets and their money. That's my thought process.
But the way people affect the money is when they stop the traffic on the highway, and then you stop the economy in the area. You're stopping the money. That's how people get the money. Or they'll what do you call it? They'll ask people not to support a business. Right. That's affecting the pocketbook.
My rebuttal to that is this. I feel like let's say you do that, right? Let's say like whoever gets killed and people are marching, people are like bringing awareness, people are talking about it, people are running and do all that. When this group of black people go and destroy said police department, y'all smashing up the cars, y'all destroying their things, it undoes everything that was just done. It's almost like, you see, this is how they all are. They're fucking animals, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like backwards. It almost negates everything positive we just did, and it makes all of us look bad.
I don't believe that all the litigation and all the talking and all the marching and all the speaking and all that shit's not doing anything either. Like, at some point,
you might not notice the effect.
Man, listen,
it is doing something.
It's made some. How much in fucking 50 or 60 years? Like,
so the difference between the time of Martin Luther King and now,
it is an effect. I have to
like
disagree.
his marches, his peaceful protests. That's been the difference. So it does make some difference.
I don't see it. I don't see it as
you don't see the difference between the Martin Luther King times and now.
I mean, yeah, I do, but that wasn't just his work either.
What do you mean by that?
It was the work of Black Panthers. You know, Huey Newton it was more than just fucking Martin Luther King that allowed us to get to where we at now.
That's not what I'm saying.
I agree.
I'm saying my point is his advocacy of peaceful protests and marching.
That shit don't work, man.
It works. It works. That's what I'm saying.
We all here just agree that like awareness without action is incomplete. You bring the awareness first. You do positive things, and you take the steps to go. You can't just say
they coincide. They work together.
Let's bring awareness. Let's bring peace, and then let's go like fuck up the police station.
Yeah, exactly.
That's backwards.
You know what I see? I see a lot of people out there protesting shit and standing out and talking, and crackers still getting off. That's what I see.
Yeah, but
so at some point,
but we don't have to loot. Is what I'm saying.
Man,
we don't have to do that.
Listen, I'm just speaking in action. That's just
an example.
One example.
Okay,
but there's other areas of ways and other ways we can put things into action. That's all I'm saying.
That's a discussion we should be having as black people, as white people, as everybody.
Action,
What is the action that is appropriate? What would make sense for us to do? Like, you said, signing bills or like getting people to like set certain laws. Like, there shouldn't be special laws for certain cities. There shouldn't be stopping, frisking, and shit like that. Like,
so for me, one thing when Trayvon Martin happened, I was like, look, the DA who lost that one got to lose his job.
Yeah,
him or her got to lose their job. That whole team got to lose their job.
Right.
I think we got to change the standard on police officers where they're not held to the same standard as we are when they kill somebody.
Yeah.
No, you got to change that. You kill somebody, held to the same standard.
You got to held to the same standard.
Because if it was justified, you can prove that shit in court.
And then if you can't prove it, you got to
Then
go to jail.
You go to jail like everybody else.
Like everybody else. Them having a special set of rules.
Those are things that we need to do. So
agree.
Tamir Rice and Ahmaud or anybody else who was killed by whomever, we need to make
put them on trial.
The Walter Scott attorney, or the officer who killed Walter Scott when he was running and he shot him in the back, and that was recorded. That officer went to jail, but officers don't get arrested when they do this stuff. They don't get arrested much. They don't go to jail much. Their police union is always backing them up, writing the dumbest letters you can imagine, justifying crazy stuff, caught on camera. That needs to change. These police unions, whoever's running these unions, they need to stop. They need to stop with this bullshit. They got to stop this supporting stuff that is flagrantly wrong. Because that just takes away the support that people have in them.
Yeah, I don't see that shit happening, man.
No, but I
not
mean,
without
that'd
action.
be tough.
Not without action. That shit is a gang.
Police is a gang, but I mean, we do what we can. This is the Shameless Goats.
Yup. I think that shit was good.